I told the girl 3 inches. I was like, 3 inches, 4 inches on the max. And she's like, okay, 7 inches. I was like, what are you doing? At least it's not a fucking Dutch boy. I've been thinking about getting my hair cut anyway, dude, because I was really sick this summer and then I got COVID, you know what I mean? I was in the hospital, so I've been shedding a ton of fucking hair. Hopefully this will freshen it up a little bit when my hair starts to grow back. Knock on wood, assuming nothing else bad happens health-wise soon. So anyway, if you like these videos, like, sub, silly, comment, share, support the channel. If you want, I appreciate it. Let me just answer this question. This is an old thing, and I've talked about this before, but I still get asked this question. People are like, Clayton, you're so cool. Your cock is the perfect 6.5 inches. Maybe they don't say that part. You're so cool. You're so silly. Why do people hate you so much? You know what I mean? When you can't even find any reason why people hate you. And I always say, I'll just tell the stories again, even though I've told them. The original reasons why people got mad at me in the community, right? First reason was, these stories are so boring now, but people want to know. First reason, remember, I didn't even know I could enter tournaments, right? I started winning tournaments very early on, okay? So what happened is the very first Street Fighter tournament I ever went to, again, I didn't even know I could enter. People were just like, oh, you should enter the Street Fighter tournament, right? I entered this tournament. I beat everybody, and there was like people that just gotten fifth at East Coast Championship, It wasn't a huge tournament, but there were people that were traveling around America that were at the tournament, right? And I beat everybody pretty badly, actually. Besides the guy who was considered the second best in the Midwest at the time in Street Fighter, right? And I ended up getting second, right? And people were like, wow, you're good at video games. You should enter. Do you know there's this tournament called Midwest Championships coming up? And I'm like, no, I don't know anything about this. I should probably check. Is my God, I hope my fucking microphone is in, right? And people were like, dude, you're actually good. Like, there's this Midwest Championship tournament. You should fucking go and enter. And I was like, oh, I'm good at video games. Again, I didn't even know that Street Fighter was still played, right? A friend just told me, he's like, do you know there's a tournament for like this Street Fighter shit that you used to play as a kid? I'm like, oh, no, I didn't even know. Am I allowed to enter? Right? That's how fucking naive I was, right? And so what happened is then I went to the Midwest tournament. And you got to remember, I've been sick for a long fucking time. So what happened was I was demolishing people, right? In casual, and it wasn't until Valle, how do I say his name, whatever, came back a second time and eventually beat me. And I even remember how he beat me because my win streak was so big. It's so weird that I remember this as a kid, right? I remember he did he random supered me multiple times with Kyo. He played Kyo in casual, and he eventually beat me right that second time. But anyway, I don't know how long the win streak was that I was on as a kid when I was at Midwest, but it was bad, right? And so people were like, holy shit, like, dude, Clayton, you're these, the Michigan guys that were there. They're like, wow, you're going to do good, right? But you got to remember, tournaments don't actually run on time. So as waiting for the tournament to happen, I was getting sicker and sicker, right? To the point that eventually, I remember I was at the Daytona machine and I was just like, oh, I was so sick. And by the time the tournament started, I got demolished. I was fucked up. I had kidney stones, right? So anyway, again, I wasn't really on the internet and all this kind of stuff at the time, but when I went home and I checked on the internet, I think I don't even remember if I checked exactly after, or maybe it was sometime after I found out about SRK. I forget exactly, but I had looked and I'm like, man, I wonder what people have said about me. Curiosity killed the cat, right? Curiosity killed the cat, Clayton. Stay away from the internet, right? And I saw all these people on the internet like, wow, man, who was that Clayton guy at this original tournament? Like, man, that kid was fucking awesome. And then I saw after the Midwest C, they're like, man, that kid was a crybaby. Someone finally beat him, and so he started crying in the corner. And it's like, dude, this is why Michigan isn't considered top tier, because we got crybabies who cry after losing. And I was like, are you fucking kidding me? I'm a fucking little kid. You guys were just sucking my dick, and you're like, wow, Clayton the crybaby. Someone finally beat him, so he decided to cry. Are you fucking kidding me? And so I saw the video game community was really fucking shady, right? Because they started making me out to be a fucking crybaby, grown ass fucking men. Are you fucking kidding me? We'll tell 3 stories, right? So I had a chip on my shoulder very early on, right? Funny thing is, one of the guys that used to talk a lot of shit about me after that, guess what? He's gay, and he constantly wanted to suck my dick. Let me tell you, I'm not even fucking joking, right? That's a true story. One of the guys that actually was calling me a crybaby, later on, he tried to fuck me. Anyway, moving on. There's a fucking story for you. Ridiculous. So then there was Evo, right? And this is during CVS 2, right? And what happened was, again, the internet wasn't very big, so it's casual. And other people can. I know. Do you guys know Gandito? Even he talks about how crazy this story is sometimes. You know what I mean? But so Evo, God, I don't remember what it was. Evo 2003, maybe that's two. I don't fucking remember what it was. But was it May 2002? I don't fucking remember. Sorry. Maybe it was two. Anyway, that's not the important part, right? Again, I'm still young at this point. Again, I wasn't even driving until after reload. So, um, during casual, I was beating a lot of people, and I even beat the Japanese. And then at one point I beat Valier and I beat Watson and all this kind of stuff. And I eventually lost to another Cali guy, and I think he played M Bison, Guile, and Chun Li. Just I think he played something like that, right? So I left and I was feeling good because I'm like, yeah, dude, I'm doing good. I'm doing good. I'm feeling excited, right? So what happened was, again, not everyone. It was a long time ago, right? It was a long time ago, and so we didn't all have cell phones, and so I look on the computer that they had at I think it was at like a college or something that they had Evo at, and I'm like, man, again, curiosity killed the cat, and I'm like, let me see what people are saying about me, right? And I go on the computer and I see, oh man, Final Showdown is so full of himself. He was talking shit. Did he beat the Japanese? Did he beat Watson? Did he beat Valley and all this kind of stuff? And I'm like, I literally just left the arcade. How could I be like talking shit about all these people? And why would I talk shit about beating Watson? When how many times have I said, I remember so little, dude. Who the fuck even knows how old I was during Street Fighter 2 days? Fucking young, right? Suit Turbo, all this kind of. I remember the Mike Watson cheap throw, all this kind of shit. And it was like, I thought it was awesome that I got to play Mike Watson. I didn't think it was like, I didn't talk shit that I beat him. I just thought it was cool. And it was casual. It wasn't like a super big deal. It was cool, right? But it wasn't like, oh, I'm talking shit that I just beat the Japanese and all this kind of shit. And I was like, wow. And so I was like, wow, people are like, yeah, Final Showdown, he's so full of himself. He's always talking, he's sucking his dick, whatever the fuck it was. I'm sure you could probably look it up or something if you can actually look on SRK that long back. It's like, he's so full of himself. He's a real super scrub. He just got lucky beating all these guys. He's talking shit that he thinks he's so good. I'm like, again, I'm a fucking kid, and I see on the internet people saying I said all this stuff. I just left the arcade. Who would I have talked shit to? I just literally left. I mean, and I was like, I didn't even chance it. It's like, what are you talking about? And I remember I didn't even fucking want to play the rest of the weekend, right? And the only good point to this story is I was like, I didn't even want to play, right? Because I've always said this before. I don't have a killer instinct, right? Shit talk makes games unfun for me. I just am one of the, and then this makes people mad. I'm just naturally skilled, I guess, or something like that. So I was lucky enough that I was able to win so many tournaments during my time, while sick, while not having the kind of scene that other people have, the kind of practice. And the only thing I have to say about that is, as I've said, it's one of my only good memories in the video game community was in that Montreal tournament. The best in Canada at the time was Prez and JFL. And JFL had just beaten Arturo, Sanchez, Sabin. You know what I mean? He still streams. I think he's still very knee deep, thick in the community. You've probably heard about him. But anyway, JFL had just beaten Arturo. And so JFL, because Arturo at the time was considered the best in the East Coast of America. And so then JFL beat him. And then there's this tournament after this. And I beat JFL at the tournament. And the arcade went crazy. And it's the only time I ever remember being bum rushed at an arcade after beating somebody. They're like, oh my God, blah, blah, blah. And one of the guys that was talking shit about me and lied and said that I was talking shit about Watson and Valley and all the Japanese, he came up to me, and it was Temujin, if you know who Temujin is. You fucking know who it is, right? If I was older now, I would not have been grateful, right? But Temujin from Montreal, he was like, Clayton, He's like, no scrub could have ever beaten JFL in a tournament like you just did, and he apologized to me. Now, of course, as the story goes, he apologized to me while the arcade was bum rushing me. And it's an anticlimactic story because I didn't actually win the tournament. I did lose to Prez, okay? So it's an anticlimactic story, but, it was kind of a cool moment as a kid. But anyway, so, you know what I mean? He apologized to me, but I guess if you think about it in the grand scheme of things, did he go back on SRK to all the people that he lied about me to? Probably not. You know what I mean? So Final Showdown was still, oh, he's an asshole. They talk shit about people. Let's make up whatever lie we can. And then the final third reason, the biggest reason why I think people have this idea that they hate me. I told this story before. So my first year of disability, even 2003 was my very first year of disability. I won every tournament that I entered besides Evo. People probably don't really remember that because, Clayton faked everything. I think it was like pretty much every fucking tournament I entered, I won for an entire year on disability. People don't want to talk about that, but anyway. So, and I've told the stories about, Guilty Gear before. There was a guy named Thomas. He's posted before. Other people have posted before this story. It's a true story. You know what I mean? Marcel's posted it. There's screen caps of it. There was a guy named Thomas. Thomas, whether or not people want to admit it or not, during the very early days of Guilty Gear XX, Thomas was an important figure in Guilty Gear, right? He was doing a lot of crazy tricks and everything like that. And even if it's a trick, if someone is doing something new, you got to give them fucking credit for it, right? So Kenji was not always the best Angie in America. I don't know if people think that, but there was a time when Thomas was actually, the premier. It wasn't a long time, but for a very short period of Guilty Gear XX, there was a guy named Thomas that was considered the best Angie for a quick minute, right? You know what I mean? Guilty Gear lore story for you, right? And the thing is, Thomas was also running tournaments and helping people. People were staying at his place. You know what I mean? And Kenji had actually gotten a lot of his tactics and some of these like more quirky little tricks from Thomas. But Thomas was not popular. Thomas was an older guy in a scene. Well, fucking Jesus Christ! Look at it now. Now I'm an older guy technically, right? In a community full of babies, full of dudes that are older than me. Now Jesus Christ, these dudes that I used to beat in tournaments, they're probably in their 40s now. They're fucking old. Jesus Christ, they probably wear fucking Pampers or some bullshit, pooping their fucking pants. They're fucking old, right? Anyway, but Thomas was older, and so people just didn't like him. They wanted to make up reasons that they didn't like him. It was stupid. I was never like that because obviously I'm a pretty morally strong person in that regard. Why would I talk shit about someone too that is, I don't care if he's fucking older. Like, what does it matter? You know what I mean? So anyway, what happened was, and you can put maybe a little bit of the blame on me for this. Eventually, like I said, I won every tournament for like a year besides Evo. Eventually, there was finally a tournament where Kenji beat me at, right? And I didn't need to do this, but I did it. If you want to throw shade on me, and I mean, whatever, I said it, right? I put an offhand mark. I got second. Kenji had finally beaten me in a tournament. And I was like, well, and again, I didn't need to say it, you know what I mean? But I was like, you know what? I've been sick a lot lately. I could have been nice. I could have just been like, good job, Kenji. Left it at that for him. But I was like, you know what? I said something like, I've been sick and, I haven't been able to really practice, which is true. But again, it was kind of, maybe people took it as an asshole. And someone mentioned something about Tom and because people wanted to hate Thomas. And I'm like, you know what? I may have lost, but at least I can give credit to people who have helped me before. Now, maybe people thought that was shady. Maybe I didn't need to say it. I didn't need to say it, but I don't think it was terrible that I said it because it was true. Because Kenji is a person who will suck anybody's dick to be their friend. But Kenji, for some reason, because Thomas was not popular, never wanted to shout out Thomas when people made up lies about him, right? Never wanted to give him credit for anything. And I always thought it was really fucking weird. And you'll suck anybody's dick, but you won't thank this guy who legitimately helped you. You know what I mean? It was very strange to me. Anyway, so people are like, oh my God. One, why would Clayton ever defend the evil Thomas? Two, Clayton will talk shit about Kenji? Oh my God. How dare Clayton ever throw any shade on Kenji, the beloved Kenji, right? And I got a lot of shit for that. And as the story goes, though, there was a group of people going around during tournaments at the time, stealing from tournaments. And guess who it was? Team Serious, the group that Kenji was in. Isn't that crazy? And one of the people they stole from was Thomas. People forget that, dude. I mean, people want to act like that. And you know what? I got a lot of shit for that because people are like, oh, how could you ever? Team Serious is so awesome. Blah, blah, blah. As my computer goes into sleep mode, got to get back. And you know what? And I don't even know if this story is true. Marcel has posted it before. And, you know, I asked other people about it and they did not deny the story, which is weird. And again, you can go look it up. I posted the videos. There's a story that Kenji was also going to tournaments and taking people's toothbrushes and sticking them in the toilet. Just to be funny for Team Serious. I don't know if that story is true. If that story is true, that really, I hope that story is not true, but I've heard the story is true. Marcel told me the story is true. Other people I've asked have not denied the story, which I think is really fucked up. Again, I've showed the conversations. And, you know, people are like, the people that, and stealing from people, I don't know if Kenji was stealing people, but he was obviously in the group, so he fucking knew about it. And you know what? I showed the story too. It was funny because one of the guys was like, "I'm gonna sue you if you keep talking about this. I was younger. Who cares if I did that now? I play on a different level now." Go look at the video. I was like, "You play on a different level now. You guys were stealing from everybody, stealing from people that helped you, and you guys let me take the blame that I was one of the bad people in the community when it was you guys all along? Oh, I play on a different level now. I'm going to sue you if you keep talking about that." Go ahead. Well, what are you going to sue? You don't talk about that I was one of the guys that was stealing from everybody and we let you take the blame that you were one of the bad guys in the community? Are you serious? It's like, wow. And I was like, wow, no wonder they didn't want to talk about Thomas because Thomas was one of the guys holding tournaments and they were going to people's tournaments and stealing stuff from them. Isn't that crazy? And of course, as the story goes on, Jesus fucking Christ, Kenji has scammed people out of money and all this other kind of shit. It's ridiculous the stories I've heard about Kenji, but he's beloved. But you know what? One of those things that people talk so much shit about me, and then even when people found out these guys actually did it, they forgot that they were also the guys that originally let me take the blame for this stuff and all this other shit that I didn't do. So I don't know why. People ask about this story sometimes. I told it before. Whatever. There it is again. I would say those are the three main reasons people can't let it go. Like I said, at least I got some layers. You know, it's not a fucking excuse me, it's not a fucking Dutch boy. I don't know. If you like the videos, like, sub, comment, share, support the channel. I appreciate it. Thanks.